Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor on Ag AM in Kansas. I'm your host, Conrad Cabus. The 2015 Kansas wheat harvest has faced many challenges this year and has been a messy start in scattered places where combines have ventured into muddy fields. Today we'll be discussing market forecasts, research tactics, and weather conditions with the Kansas Wheat Commission and the National Association of Wheat Growers. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers. This segment is brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
May 2015 is on record for being one of the wettest months in the state of Kansas, along with Oklahoma and Texas. The historic rainfall washed away an economically draining drought that plagued parts of the state for years. Recently, Farm Factor spoke with Aaron Harris, Vice President of Research Operations at Kansas Wheat, about the outlook for this year's harvest.
This harvest year has brought many challenges. I think we started with the drought affecting the crop prior right up until May 1st, basically across the state. The crop was stressed by a drought, and we saw those effects when many people from across the U.S. did the wheat tour in early May. This is when the rain started falling. We could see that the crop had been stressed quite a bit by the drought. What was different this year is that the flip switched, and starting on May 1st and through May and into June, the rain started falling. So this was a good harvest to determine how the wheat plant responds to that rain, and the only way to find out is by running the combines through the field, seeing what we end up with yield and quality.
This year was unique for wheat because of the rainfall that has stalled progress and devastated fields, with some fields suffering from droughts and others suffering from excess rain in May.
I think it's a challenge to compare this to any other drought year because there were so many variables. When we planted wheat this past fall for this crop, there was actually some moisture. The drought situation was during the winter and into the spring, so it wasn't a full-fledged drought. And then the other caveat here is that it did start raining in May, which is a very critical production time for the wheat crop when it's filling out that grain. So it's not going to be really be hard to find years for a comparison like this. I think what we'll learn is just how late is too late for that rain to affect the drought-stricken wheat, and we'll find that out this year.
With the supply of U.S. wheat in abundance, the question for wheat farmers is the quality of the crop this year.
The trade picture is what it's been for a few months now, is that there's not a lot of worldwide demand for wheat just because the supply is so adequate and surplus. Now there's a lot of eyes obviously on the U.S. crop. The rain is going to have a bigger impact on the Texas and Oklahoma crop quality because it's been raining there, or did rain when they were ready to harvest. The wheat here in Kansas is getting rained on, but it was a little bit later in the process. So there's always going to be demand for the hard red winter wheat from the central United States. USDA does not expect this to be a big export year for the United States in relative comparison to the last few years, which have been excellent. There's just too much wheat in production, but all those other factors come into play. How much wheat is Canada going to produce? How much wheat are we going to produce in the United States as a whole?
Here's another gardening tip with Annette Jackson from Jackson's Greenhouse.
Well-designed container flower gardens bring beauty to your home, at your entry, on your patio, or placed in a special spot in your landscape. Let Jackson's help you select the correct plant combinations which will add the color and style you need and that will survive the summer to provide beauty till frost.
Our annual flat sale is going on now. Choose a flat of 4 packs for just $18.99.
Jackson's Greenhouse has what you need today.
As fourth-generation farmers themselves, Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. So when it comes to quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia, call Heinen Brothers Ag today, 800-760-4964.
I'm Dr. Frank Lyons, a physician here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. As one of the only standalone stem cell centers in the U.S., we use your stem cells as therapy for arthritis and some autoimmune diseases.
I'm Dr. Andrew Poe. Here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center, Utilizing the latest technology under strict protocols, we're able to harvest your stem cells from your own fat to treat a variety of medical conditions. The best part about it is, it's a same-day surgical procedure and requires no general anesthesia.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agaminkansas.com. This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor on Ag AM in Kansas. I'm Conrad Cabus. In May, rainfall washed away an economically draining drought that plagued parts of the state for years. Recently, we spoke with Aaron Harris, Vice President of Research Operations at Kansas Wheat, about the harvest this year and what the anticipations are for the quality of wheat.
Kansas Wheat is funding research for the wheat crop on two phases. Obviously, we're looking at improved genetics for drought and heat tolerance, which came into play this year when the drought affected the crop early on. But I think another important component of it is what happens when it gets too wet. So we're really seeing a two-sided coin here in this harvest, drought stress early. But now that we've seen all this rain and water in May and June, we're really looking at a lot of disease pressure. And that's the other side of wheat genetics that we have to look into, taking new wheat varieties and getting better wheat genetics for disease resistant, rust resistance, scab. Those are two big problems that have emerged every time it rains, and especially this year. So it's never a simple solution. You know, we always look at drought, but we always have to look at the disease side of it, and unfortunately we're seeing both of those this year. In the far western third of the state, the drought had a huge effect on it. We went there in May and the crop was very short, obviously drought stress, and didn't look like it had much potential, but recent conversations with him explained that, and he said he wouldn't believe, or I wouldn't believe how much the wheat has responded to the rainfall, growing a lush plant, producing big heads of wheat, and he thought some wheat that might yield only 10, 15 bushels an acre might actually make 40 bushels an acre. So I guess the bottom line we always learn from these sorts of scenarios is never give up on the wheat plant. It's a pretty tough plant. Just when you think the drought may have killed it and the rains are too late, the rain can turn things around. So it's all about timing, it's all about moisture, it's all about temperature, and I think we'll see a lot of those stories this year.
Kansas is also having additional issues with disease reports continuing to pour in. Disease has been a big issue this year as well, with stripe rust and leaf rust coming on strong in late April and early May. But the outlook is positive for Kansas State University and Kansas Wheat.
And I think the real question is quality of the crop. You know, are we going to see sprouting problems with the wheat that's been rained on? How much has the disease, the widespread stripe rust and scab, how much does that affect yield, shrunken and broken kernels, the quality of the crop? And another big question mark is what is ultimately going to be the protein level of this crop, which is important to domestic and international customers. Typically, we associate drought conditions with higher protein, but then the weather conditions started in May. So I'm curious to see how those protein numbers are going to play out. Did the drought have a bigger effect? Did the rain have a bigger effect? Or are we going to see protein numbers close to average? So I'm curious to see how that works.
Biodiesel made from sustainable resources is diversifying our fuel supply. This year, biodiesel will displace over 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. It's making our economy stronger and our communities healthier. It's working here and across America. Get biodiesel going in your community. Visit americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Elizabeth Yeager, Assistant Professor of Ag Economics at Kansas State, joins us. Elizabeth, the wet spring and possibly summer, coupled with new Farm Bill programs, have created a lot of stress for soybean producers. So in times of stress management, like many may be feeling now, what kinds of advice would help them manage it?
So as we're thinking about the times that we're facing right now with, like you said, the wet spring, looking into a possibly wet summer, obviously thinking about how you're going to manage your income is incredibly important. So managing your income, managing your cash flow. Right now, it's probably going to be difficult to think about any renegotiation in terms of cash rental agreements, but that's certainly something to start thinking about when you do have conversations with your landlords again. But certainly this year is probably going to be a year where you're going to want to postpone any machinery and equipment purchases. So unless you just have to purchase new machinery this year, this is probably a year to hold off on big capital investments. Also managing your assets, so trying to maybe hold lower inventories this year, try and reduce some of your debt, as well as managing liabilities. So this might be a good year to try and extend some of your loan terms or thinking about refinancing or reducing debt.
The liabilities are something that every farmer really stresses out about. But in the case of the great unknown about not knowing what this weather is going to do and how these new farm programs are going to pay out, that kind of just doubles or maybe even triples the importance.
That's right. So always managing liabilities is important. But right now, it's really a good time to talk to your lender early. This is certainly not a time to wait until the last minute or until you're extremely stressed out about this. Go ahead and talk to your lender early to figure out, is there a way to maybe pay interest only? Obviously, that is going to extend your payment schedule, but having that conversation right away or as soon as possible rather than waiting to the last minute is going to make it a lot easier to deal with.
I think of an old phrase, early recognition, early resolution. That resonates here?
Exactly. Now is really a time. As soon as you recognize the issues, go ahead and start having a conversation. Your lender's really going to respect that and be more willing to work with you, knowing that you recognize some potential issues right away rather than waiting until the last minute.
All right, Elizabeth, we appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Elizabeth Yeager, Assistant Professor of Ag Economics at Kansas State, joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
From the Land of Kansas is a trademark program that helps Kansas businesses grow, produce, process, or manufacture Kansas products. Let's meet Britt's Garden Acres, a family-owned farm on the outskirts of Manhattan. They grow and sell different types of produce, from strawberries to cabbage and so much more. Their flower selection is just as large, with pansies, petunias, marigolds, well, too many to list here. Supporting local markets and providing healthy and tasty foods is their goal. So in addition to flowers and vegetables, Britt's also offers local grass-fed beef, organic pork, raw honey, and Mexican vanilla, along with fantastic jams and salsas. For a fun family event, grab the kids and come to Britt's for a tour of the farm or a barn party. Plus in the fall, they have a huge pumpkin patch with hayrack rides, corn mazes, and a petting zoo too. For more information, go to britsfarm.com.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help? How can we help?
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
This segment brought to you by Heinen Brothers Ag, farmers helping farmers by offering quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia. Call today to protect your crop yield.
Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor on Ag Game in Kansas. I'm Conrad Cabus. In the last few weeks, harvest progress was slowed in southern plains due to excess moisture. With thousands of acres of soggy or flooded fields and as many more never planted due to extremely wet conditions, area farmers are facing losses of millions of dollars. Today we continue our story on this year's wheat harvest with Paul Penner, now immediate past president and representative of the Kansas Association of Wheat Growers on the National Association of Wheat Growers Board of Directors.
And we got that deluge that happened that put floods in Texas and Oklahoma, and has created a lot of havoc there. And it is to a lesser degree in Kansas. Now, what that means, number one, is the production estimates are probably going to be downgraded. The wheat production is the best it's going to be for the year. So deterioration, some of the areas is basically a salvage operation, trying to get what you can.
As the weather begins to warm up, wheat is growing at a faster pace. Symptoms of some diseases are also beginning to appear, or will likely be appearing soon.
There's a lot of wheat sprout in the head. It is so damp and so humid, even though the wheat is not underwater, the quality of it is deteriorating by the day. And so, number one, the wheat quality is going to be an issue. Number two, the production, the total bushels, the yield is going to be detrimental, both in Oklahoma and Texas. Oklahoma and Texas had a drought even worse than Kansas did. But we registered last year one of the worst years of droughts in history. We had actually a hotter time and drier time than they did in the 30s. And so it was bad for Kansas being on that end and now having to deal with trying to collect what could have been a very good crop.
The problem with spraying for these diseases has to deal with their time of application. Diseases have also been found in trace levels and are now becoming more common.
In parts of western Kansas and western Oklahoma, you've had incidents of winter kill. And then when the wet weather did start, then we had the introduction of a lot of diseases like stripe rust, stem rust, and soil-borne mosaic, yellow barley yellow dwarf has all been shown up, and some of that I know, like on my field, some of that showed up after the optimum time for application of fungicide, and especially like on corn ground, if you've gone back to wheat with it, you want to spray your fungicide so it will prevent scab, and at the time when it was at mid-flowering, when it was supposed to be sprayed, it was raining, and there was no way you were going to get it on. You couldn't even fly it on. It was just too much moisture. It was raining all the time. So you're going to have some quality issues. I think there's going to be places you're going to see some really good wheat. I think parts of western Kansas that did see some rainfall and didn't have as much winter kill. It's going to be variable. I think in some fields you're going to have, on one side of the road, you're going to have some 15 degree bushel an acre wheat, and then you're going to have some 40 bushel wheat across the road. And simply because timing, field conditions, variety, you name it, tillage practices, that will all play into what the total is.
Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. As fourth-generation farmers themselves, they understand the importance of using the correct products on every acre. Farmers helping farmers. Heinen Brothers Ag offers quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia. Call today at 800-760-4964 or find us online at HeinenBrothersAg.com.
Healthy cows start with the new hired hand automatic livestock sprayer. Rancher invented to provide an efficient alternative to pour-on and injectable parasite management systems. The portable design allows cattle to treat themselves head to hoof. Strategic device placement with pass-through activation technology takes the stress out of parasite treatment for cattle and the rancher. Get the new hired hand for yourself or become a distributor. Visit cowsprayer.com. The new hired hand makes healthy cows easy.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agaminkansas.com. Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor on Ag AM in Kansas. I'm Conrad Cabus. In the last few weeks, harvest progress has slowed. It has exemplified the reason why research is important and crucial for Kansas farmers. Take a look as Paul Penner explains.
Well, I tell you, I think this highlights the extreme importance of continuing and increasing investment in research and development on new and better wheat varieties. Because the best defense that we have against adverse conditions is the best seed that can survive all these anomalies. Drought. We need a variety that will resist drought to the best it can. Heat tolerance is another issue. Stripe rust resistance. Some of these things are going to, that will help mitigate some of that. In terms of quality issues, there are some varieties that will withstand all these environments and still maintain a fairly decent quality.
Wheat is growing at a faster pace. Symptoms of some diseases are also beginning to appear or are likely to be appearing soon.
Soft winter wheat is susceptible to sprout damage more than the hard red winter variety is, and so that limits its potential until they solve that problem. To make sure that the research continues and moves forward on that, we don't care the technique on whether it's biotech or whether it's a normal plant breeding trait. We would like to see it move forward. That said, we do need to make sure that the farmer has the best tools that they can to survive and be profitable. We don't want them just to be able to survive. We have declining acres in wheat in Kansas and across America. And our goal for not only Kansas but for the National Association of Wheat Growers is to make wheat a profitable crop of choice again, because it's competing against corn and soybeans right now. Corn is developing. They're more drought tolerant than the varieties were years before. Soybeans have increased in productivity, not to the great extent that corn has, and so farmers are voting with their pocketbooks every time they decide what crop mix they're going to make. And so for us as wheat growers, if we want to do our industry the best thing that we can do for them is to make it as profitable as we can.
Thank you for watching today's show of Farm Factor on Ag AM in Kansas. For more on the 2015 wheat harvest coverage, or if you want to view this program again, Visit us on www.agaiminkansas.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. So have a good day with good luck.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.